The golden sun filtered through the massive glass windows of the Sterling mansion, a place that sparkled with wealth but echoed with silence. Billionaire Edward Sterling, once the most powerful man in the city, now sat on the marble floor of his children's playroom, broken and helpless. In front of him sat his three little angels, Emma, Lily, and Grace, identical triplets with bald heads, fragile smiles, and eyes that held stories no child should ever live through. The doctors had given them just 1 week to live. A rare disease had taken over their bodies, and no amount of money, no medical genius, and no international specialist could save them. For Edward, every tick of the clock felt like a countdown to the end of his world. He had built skyscrapers, empires, and fortunes, yet he couldn't build a cure for the 3 tiny lives that made him feel human. His late wife, Clara, had passed away giving birth to the triplets. They were his only link to her, his only reason to breathe. But fate was cruel. Nothing can save them, the doctor had said, words that hit harder than any loss he'd ever faced. Days blurred into nights filled with sterile hospital rooms, 4 drips, and soft lullabies sung to sleeping little heads. Edward had hired dozens of nannies, nurses, and caregivers, but none lasted. Either they couldn't handle the pressure, or the sadness was too much to bear. Then, one morning, as the sun rose over the estate, the doorbell rang. Standing there was a woman with a gentle smile and tired eyes, Nora. She wasn't like the others. No fancy degrees, no glowing references, no promises of miracles. Just a simple woman wearing a blue uniform, holding a small worn-out bag. "Sir," she said softly, "I can take care of them. I can give them love, not medicine." Edward almost laughed at the absurdity. "Love won't save them," he muttered. Nora met his eyes calmly. "Maybe not. But without it, they've already lost." There was something in her voice, a quiet strength, a compassion that disarmed even a man who'd stopped believing in hope. Out of desperation, Edward agreed. "You have 1 week," he said. "Just make their last days less painful." From that day forward, the atmosphere in the mansion began to shift. Nora didn't treat the triplets like fragile glass. She talked to them, laughed with them, played little games, and even baked rainbow-colored cakes, something no one had dared to do because of their dietary restrictions. "A little color never killed anyone," she'd whisper, making them giggle. At first, Edward kept his distance, watching from the hallway as Nora sang lullabies and danced with the girls in the garden. He couldn't understand it, their smiles were coming back. For the first time in months, he heard laughter echoing through the halls. Even the servants whispered that the air around the house felt alive again. But hope was dangerous. Edward tried to ignore it. The doctor's words haunted him every night, 1 week. On the 4th day, something strange happened. The triplets woke up earlier than usual, full of energy. Their faces had color again, their eyes sparkled. Edward was stunned. "They look better," he said, barely believing what he saw. Nora simply smiled. Children heal when their hearts remember how to be happy. He didn't know what kind of magic she carried, but it was undeniable. She spent hours teaching the girls how to draw, making them write letters to their late mother, helping them express their fears. When one of them asked, "Are we going to heaven soon?" Nora knelt down, holding their tiny hands, and said, "Heaven is love, my dear, and you are already there when someone loves you." By the 6th day, the doctor arrived for another examination. He couldn't believe his eyes. The girls' vitals were improving, their blood count stabilizing. "This is medically impossible," he whispered. "It's like their bodies are fighting back." Edward was speechless. "What did you do to them?" he asked Nora that night, his voice trembling. She looked at him with tears in her eyes. "I just gave them what they needed most, love, hope, and faith. When the heart finds peace, the body follows." But the truth behind Nora's calm smile was something Edward didn't know. Years ago, she had lost her own daughter to the same disease. She knew the pain of holding a dying child and the guilt of not being able to save her. Taking this job wasn't about money, it was redemption. Every hug, every lullaby, every whispered prayer, she was pouring her heart into giving these children what she couldn't give her own. On the 7th day, the day they were supposed to die, the sun rose brighter than ever. The triplets were laughing in the garden, chasing butterflies. Their hair was beginning to grow again. Edward fell to his knees, tears streaming down his face. You saved them." Nora smiled softly. No, they saved themselves. I just reminded them how to live. Word spread across the city, the miracle at the Sterling mansion. Reporters, doctors, and scientists wanted to study it, but Edward refused interviews. It wasn't science, he said. It was love. Weeks passed, and the girls grew stronger. Edward, once a man who measured everything in profit and loss, now measured time in giggles, hugs, and bedtime stories. He built a foundation in Nora's name to support children battling incurable diseases, the Hope Hearts Foundation. And as for Nora, she stayed on as their nanny, though to the triplets, she was far more, a guardian angel sent from heaven. One evening, as they sat around the dinner table, Emma looked up and said, "Daddy, can we bake another rainbow cake?" Edward smiled, looking at Nora. "Of course, my love. Let's make it together." The rainbow cake became a symbol in their family, not just of color, but of courage, love, and the miracle of hope. And as the camera slowly fades on the happy laughter and the clinking of plates, Edward's voice narrates softly. "I had all the money in the world, but no faith. It took one woman, one heart full of love, to teach me that miracles don't come from wealth, they come from kindness. Sometimes, life doesn't need miracles of science, it needs the miracle of love, compassion, and human connection. Because when you give love selflessly, the impossible becomes possible." If this story touched your heart, remember, miracles can happen when love leads the way. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more heart-touching stories that remind us what truly matters in life. Your support helps us spread kindness and hope to millions.